Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about getting hired at a company, but only if you sign up with a consultancy. So let's get into it. So the question in question was a bit of a story, so I'm just gonna slightly skim through this or gloss over it a little bit, where basically this person reached out and said that he wanted to work at a specific company, but that company told him that, oh no, sorry, if you want to work for us, you need to go to that agency and sign up with them, and then then we can actually have you work for us. He thought this was a little bit suspicious, and he also had a bit of a personal axe to grind with consultancies, because his opinion was that he doesn't like the idea that some consultancy is going to take a cut of his salary and for nothing, pretty much. And then he asked me, like, Fredrik, am I unreasonable? Is this uncommon? Like, what's going on? And the short answer is that this is, depending on the specifics of this is extremely normal. What's being described is very, very, very common, actually. And let me just walk you through the answer that I gave this person. So the first thing I said is that, all right, if I were you, if you feel that something's off, because you should always trust your gut. You should always do that, because that's the thing that's going to lead you straight, or lead you, well, at least lead you somewhere, hopefully to where you want to be, right? But the first thing you should ask the agency in question, or the company in question, is if they are open to you being a consultant for another firm, or ideally a consultant of your own volition. In other words, you could start your own company, your own one-person consultancy, and see if that works out. If they agree to this, if they allow you to just be a one-person, in this case a one-man consultant, nothing is weird. You have no idea how normal this is. So there are quite a lot of big companies who are actually only working with consultants. They only work with them. And if you think about that, for a company where money is less of an issue, like they have the resources to do this, it might be the case that they have done I'm not going to say that this always makes sense, but for them it might actually be a very big relief to not have to deal with personnel issues and things like taxes for having employees, and maybe having an HR department. And because, you know, the thing is, if you are an employee of a company, you have certain legal rights, and as an employer you have certain legal obligations towards the employees and the government, and these sorts of things you may not want. And then a consultant makes quite a lot of sense, because you can hire them and you can ask for more people, and you can fire them whenever you want, and they don't get leave or anything like that necessarily. It's a service that you're basically buying, right? So by asking that question, you kind of get the first feedback on how this thing is going to play out for you. Now, if they say no, let's say for the sake of argument that no, we're only working with that agency, then the next thing that may have been going on here is that this agency has made a commitment to this customer, and this customer isn't committed in turn, of course. They have a strong relationship. Now, this is not uncommon either. Quite a lot of especially the smaller agencies, they basically live and die with a few select, maybe even one large corporate customer. I know I have tons of friends who have been working with in this fashion, and I even know a few people who own companies, consultant agencies. I mean, they stay afloat by just having this extremely deep and strong connection to a few big customers, and in return, the agency provides pretty much everything that this large organization is looking for. Like, whatever they need, they jump through all the hoops, as long as the money is right, of course. But that's what they're doing, and the company is fine with this, because they need the resources, or they need the developers, and they just want to get that problem sorted. This is where a lot of people get a bit confused, guys. Not every company is Google. Not every company is Microsoft. They're not they want people to solve their problems. They don't have an insane testing process where they interview you for 6 months before you can. I'm not saying that is the case, but I'm exaggerating a little bit here, I hope. But like, not every company has this. They don't. Like, they just want someone to do the job. They don't have a concern that oh, we're not going to get the best programmers in the world. So having this sort of arrangement is extremely beneficial because they have the security to know that they have someone they can call whenever they need more people. If they have a new project, they can just get more people whenever they want. And if they don't need any more people, then hey, they still know that they can, as I said, they can call whenever they want, right? So that's the second thing that can happen. And the thing that is tricky here, and that's the thing I told the subscriber, is that if you sign up with this agency, if you really want to work for this company, you have no guarantees at all. You have the company that you want to work for, the real thing that you actually want to do, you have no connection to that company for actually. In reality, what you're doing is that you're working for a service provider or a third party that is renting out your hours to that company. And that company can fire you. They don't have, like, technically you can't really put much in terms of on your CV. Well, you can, of course, you can talk about your projects and so forth, but you can't say you've been employed by this company. You can't, because there is no, you're working for the agency. And the worst part about it is that you don't have any guarantees whatsoever that they are actually going to put you on that project, because you have no rights in that regard. As a consultant, your options when it comes to what projects that you work on stands directly tied to your relationship with that agency. In other words, if the agency wants to put you on project A and you want to be on project B, then the only thing that's stopping them from putting you on project A is your happiness. Because unless otherwise specified within your contract, you are just an employee, and as an employee you pretty much, they say jump, you ask how high, quite often. Anywho, so if that is your situation, I would say that you can't really, well, like there's not much you can do about this, because the thing is that, like, I just want, and I did mention this as the last thing, I still believe that you should take a look at if they're open to you being a one-person consultant. But I also want you to remember that, guys, this idea that this person had, that, oh, there's this agency who's taking a cut out of my salary, guys, I will tell you now that the company is paying quite a lot more for your services when you work for an agency. Like, the money that you are getting as a salary is a fraction of what they are paying for your services to the agency. And if you think that they were going to pay you that money if you just went there and, as an employee, you are shitting yourself. You're kidding yourself quite a lot, because the thing is, that extra cost that they're paying, that cost is the cost that they are willing to invest in order to avoid having you as an employee. Because as I said, if you are in the right region, like you might actually have quite a lot of legal rights that they don't want to deal with, and they are willing to pay to not have to deal with those legal rights, because it benefits, from their perspective, it benefits them. So it's not like the agency is stealing from you or robbing you blind. It's a business arrangement. You can still negotiate a salary that would be on par with what the company would have offered you had you been a full-time employee. The risk element here is that you don't actually have any legal right to work for that company. So what I want you to take away from this is that having a company tell you that they only work with consultants is very normal. There's nothing weird about that. And even one further, there's nothing weird with a company having an intimate relationship with an agency where they basically promise that they will fix everything for them as long as they only have them as the supplier of these or as a business partner, right? So, and it's not weird. It's not weird at all. And lastly, if you think that you're going to make the same sort of money as a consultant if you were to be a full-time employee, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment, because usually the reason why a consultant is costing the company more is because they don't have the same legal rights as an employee. The closest thing to making that sort of money that you can get is to have a one-person consultancy, because then you are the company, you are the whole company. So you set your own salary, of course, and if you can find customers, that's probably the easiest way for you to make that sort of money. But, that's my tip anyway to this person. check that part out first, because that's probably the thing that would fit this person's needs the best. Have a great day.